start to forget about that. We've seen him put together some superb driving already this season. That is
one of his best efforts, unfortunately. Cars are up, the helmet's still very much on. Steers are what is the badly damaged Porsche 911 Cup. He'll be taken back by the
safety crew. We're quick check out, he's on his feet, he's okay, but yeah, just got that completely wrong.
Coming from a long way back, and I think he knew it too, that this is not going to end well. Did his best to avoid running into the car in front of him right away at the start, just cut it to the inside and ran out of real estate, as so often is the case in Turn 1 here in Miami. You really got a feel for Janis Stiak, the youngster who put in that great qualifying effort to start on the race brew pole position, but boy, not the way that he drew this up. Now the car's still going, I guess that's the good news, but boy, much delayed and not at all the track position that he would have hoped to be.
Apologies for a few technical issues at the top of our broadcast, and if you're just joining us, well, it's been drama here at the start of this fifth round of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Championship frontrunner Aaron Johnson is out of the race. Started on the front row of the grid, but an over-exuberant Cole Clegg, who started on the third row of the grid. Great start for the Porsche of Janis Stiak. He gets a great getaway. Clegg spots an opportunity down the inside and just gets his braking point completely wrong and bang right into the back of Stiak. And then it's a Tyler Maxson championship leader was involved also. Now, he has carried on, but is in 9th position. Johnson, oh, the whole front right corner of that Racing for Children's car really bent out of shape there. The ACI team cannot believe it after working so hard to get a race car ready, and it all goes wrong at the first corner through no fault of their own. Top Racing's Cole Clegg will not be popular at all in the paddock, and spare a thought for that young man, because that's not how he would have wanted it to play out, Ryan, and he'll be playing that over in his head for days to come.
Certainly, Cole, a talented young man. San Antonio, Texas is where he calls home. Porsche Sprint Challenge champion of a year ago, making that big step up to Carrera Cup for this year. And like you said, that's not one that he'll be terribly keen to relive. Took out some really quick cars. You mentioned Maxson got a piece of that. He had won the first 2 races of the season at Sebring, and then also Aaron Johnson involved. I thought maybe he gotten away with it, but you were quite right, spotting that suspension damage on the front of the car. Didn't look like it was a big hit, but sometimes it doesn't take much if the angle's not quite right. And those are 2 championship contenders out, which means this is a big opportunity, or if not out, at least delayed. So a big opportunity now for those that maybe aren't in the position in points they'd like to be. This could be a chance to make up some ground in the championship.
It's an enormous opportunity, most of all for the number 9 of Callum Hedge. There's a long tradition of Antipodean drivers coming to Porsche Carrera Cup North America with great success. Of course, last year's champion, Ryan Yardley, a great example of that. And with Maxson back in 9th, and we do not know yet just how much performance is actually left in that number 77 car, because he did not get through without incident. So the car, he's still going. He hasn't come into the pits. He's weaving behind the Pirelli PZ Euro pace car right now, so he may have got away with it. And you know, just getting out of today with some points could be a massive advantage for Maxson, because Aaron Johnson, he's kind of put together a Ryan Yardley season so far, Ryan, because he's been on the podium in 100% of the 4 races we've had so far. Although he hasn't actually won any of them yet, he's kind of been doing what Yardley did last year, but that record will not be continuing, and through no fault of his own. I mean, that's not what we want to see. The Racing for Children's car is very much a fan favourite. You know, Alison is from Racing for Children's, is here at the track, and Molly, the crew chief for the car, watching from home as well, and that's not the start to the weekend. But the good thing about Porsche Carrera Cup North America is that he'll come back tomorrow, Aaron Johnson, with a good grid position for race 2.
Read my mind, that was my point exactly, and it didn't look like the damage on that car, well, enough to take him out of race 1. Don't think that will be enough to put race 2 in jeopardy, so there is some hope they can come back for a stronger day, weather permitting, in race 2, with some interesting weather in the forecast for the greater Miami area in the next 24 hours or so. But talking about some others that this has been a positive development for, I mean, being able to take advantage of this incident. How about Paul Bocuse up to 3rd place? This is effectively a home race for the Floridian, who calls Orlando home, and he's in position perhaps for the best result of his young career. Another look at this is Cole Kleck comes up the middle, tags the rear of Stiak, the pole sitter. Amazing to me, Peter, that Janusz Stiak's been able to continue on despite getting clouded up the right rear on the first turn of the race.
Well, it was definitely Stiak who took the majority of the impact, and actually Max and Johnson ended up in their own little kind of miniature accident. And one thing I missed, I must be honest, Ryan, Patrick Mulcahy, the runaway leader in Pro-Am, in the Solaris Aviation Pro-Am class, did not have a good start either. He got turned around. Now, I'm thinking back to 12 months ago when runaway Masters, Solaris Masters Championship leader and eventual champion Scott Blind, he got turned around race 1, lap 1, turn 1 last year. So Patrick, is probably not the crumb of comfort you're looking for, but there is a good omen in there somewhere. Every cloud.
Yeah, that's right. You can look at what Scott did a year ago, and Scott actually quite lucky to get through the melee there. He runs 5th overall at the moment and appears to be maybe a little damage to the back of his car, but still in strong position. The good news for Mulcahy relative to the championship, though, Peter, only 2 cars entered in the Pro-Am class here this weekend, so even if he's not able to get the win, he's still scoring pretty good points for that Pro-Am title.
That's right. The main thing is he can get to the end of the race. Now, if you didn't join us at the top of the show, all of us in the motorsport community are mourning the loss of one of its brightest stars, Alex Zanardi, who sadly passed away yesterday. A man who achieved so much in his life, both on the racetrack and off it. A multiple IndyCar champion and also a 4-time Paralympic gold medalist and 12-time world champion. A man who also took very, very well to sports car racing as well. I mean, IndyCar racing is very much your wheelhouse, Ryan. Your thoughts on the sad passing of Alex Zanardi yesterday?
Well, one of the stars of my youth, for sure, growing up watching open-wheel racing in the United States, and just a vivacious personality, effervescent. I was privileged to cover him when he came and did the 24 Hours of Daytona late in his racing career, and the way that he controlled the crowd in the media center and just held court talking to the assembled media, the way he interacted with fans out in the pit lane, second to none. Truly one of the legends of the sport, and the world's a poorer place without him.
Yeah, very true, very true. And our thoughts are with, most of all, the Zanardi family. Well, the field are lined up behind the Pirelli P0 pace car. Pirelli, a new tyre partner for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America this year, and very appropriate for when we're in town with Formula One, because of course Pirelli, a long-standing tyre partner of the Formula One World Championship as well. But Porsche and Pirelli's history does go quite a long way back. In fact, Porsche were the first OEM to approach Pirelli to make a bespoke tyre for the 911 as it was then. Now you can get a Pirelli that will be fitted to any of the quite diverse Porsche range, but that's now very much the done thing amongst all performance cars, is to have a specific tyre for each car. But that was all started with Porsche and Pirelli many moons ago. But this tyre, I mean, we haven't seen it yet in this race, Ryan, but I'd be very surprised if we don't have a new race lap record, because since we hit the track in Sebring in late winter, early spring, we've been smashing lap records with this new Pirelli tyre.
And new car as well, new for 2026. So the combination has been potent, really fast lap times, as you alluded to. I think the really interesting thing about what Pirelli has brought to the table is the durability across a 40-minute race, where it's become commonplace now, Peter, to see the fastest lap of the race set in the final 10 minutes, which I'm not sure you would have seen very often in the past. But that has definitely changed the way that teams and drivers go racing. It's changed the qualifying strategy with the relative limited tire allocation available to the teams, and all of that taken together makes for a different dynamic, certainly in 2026, than we've had in the past.
It has, yeah. I mean, there's been lots of new things here at in the 2026 Porsche Carrera Cup North America, but here at Miami, something that is very familiar, a Turn 1 incident. It's a hotspot that we've seen in the past. We first came here in 2023 when Riley Dickinson did the double, but drama at that opening corner has been something that we've seen many times before, with Dickinson starting on pole back in 2023, a race he would go on to win, but it was all arms and elbows all behind him. Normally starting from pole gets you away with these kinds of things. It happened again in 2024, Ryan, where it was just pinballs everywhere. Just the angle of that corner just makes it so awkward.
I think tempting at turn in, and then all of a sudden reality sets in about midway through. 2025, similar story. Race 1 start, and while Yves Baltas made the pass for the lead behind, it was chaos. So this has been Calamity Corner historically. I'm sure the teams and drivers were well aware of that. They would have studied that coming in. And yet, history repeating itself here in 2026.
Patrick Mulcahy, runaway Solaris Pro-Am leader, ending up in a similar position to what last year's runaway Solaris Masters winner ended up in with Scott Blind. The lights are off on the Pirelli P0 pace car. It's a beautiful machine, Porsche 911 GT3 with the black and yellow Pirelli colours, but we like to watch it when it's in the pit lane, which means we're back racing again. So we'll be going green very soon. 40 minutes were on the clock when the green flag dropped. We've got just over 26 minutes of racing ready to go here in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Single file restart here as the Pirelli P0 pace car moves away. And in effect, we have a new race brew pole sitter, effectively. Unfortunately, Janis Stiak was our race brew pole sitter who's not going to take that advantage. But Callum Hedge, with the race brew livery, he is going to be the one who leads us away back to racing again. Off we go then. We're racing again in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by PenFed Credit Union. Down to turn 1 they go, and Callum Hedge trying to generate a little bit of extra tyre temperature, but here comes Jared Thomas up the inside into turn 1. Can he get it stopped? A little bit of a wiggle. Hedge goes for the cutback around the outside at turn 2, then into turn 3. They're going to touch surely as Hedge barges Thomas out the way. Thomas knows how to handle close combat as he nearly runs him to the wall. Jared Thomas nearly ran to the wall there by Callum Hedge. Is he going to make it up the inside now into turn 8? Yes, he is. Jared Thomas wins the motor race now as they head down through towards the turnaround to the back straight. Very tight there through 7 and 8 and round onto the back straight. Now as Thomas gets punted off the road. Is that Paul Bocuse? Yes, it was. Paul Bocuse gets into the back of Thomas, so it's all arms and elbows.
Well, that was chaotic, certainly on the restart. Paul Bocuse did a great job on the start to get up to 3rd place. It was mixing it up with the top 2 as they went side by side. I didn't get a good look at exactly where the contact was initiated. Meanwhile, further back, big lunge, Alan Metney to the inside in the 99. He's now stuck on the outside doing battle with Jean-Jo Twain back there in car 39, doing a really good job on this restart as well. This is where the battle is right now, all happening behind the race leader, Callum Hedge, and Jared Thomas, as well as Paul Bocuse, although we had the spin just a moment ago.
I apologise. Callum Hedge was who got into the back of Jared Thomas. So leading now is Paul Bocuse, who leads the motor race. Jean-Jo Twain up into 2nd position already in the 71 of Paul Bocuse. His home race. He's a Floridian in that white and blue number 71 machine. And Alan Metney, multiple champion in this series, more race starts in this series than anybody else, has moved up to the Mobile Pro class this year. He would be eligible for the Solaris Masters because he is above 50 years old, and he is up there on the overall podium, Ryan. What a start from Alan Metney and Kelly Moss, number 99.
59 years old, and actually on the restart, he had 59-year-old Scott Blind right there with him, and in a normal year, those two would be racing in that Solaris Aviation Masters class, but Metney asked for the move up to Pro, and that was granted. This, I think, a look moments ago at what befell the front runners, Peter, as they were battling at the very front of the field. Really nip and tuck stuff here, but it ended in tears for Jared Thomas.
Jared Thomas went very wide going into turn 8, which then opened the door for Hedge, who stuck it up the inside, but then in the inside of him was Paul Bocuse, who really profited as Hedge got into the back of Thomas, and Alan Metney also on the inside said, thank you very much, guys, I'll come through. So it's Bocuse who leads from the 39 of John Joe Dwayne, and here comes Metney for second position, going down into turn 11, and has he got it? No, he can't get the car stopped, and Hedge gets them both. So Hedge is up into second position, Metney back to third, Joe Dwayne in fourth, and then watch out for Sabre Cook, who's battling away with the championship leader of Tyler Maxson. 22 minutes to go, right, this is carnage.
This is wild. Maxson, remember, was involved in that incident at the very beginning of the race. He's been able to continue on. Sabre Cook has one of her best finishes in her career was here at Miami a couple of years ago, where she finished 6th. Matched that earlier this season at Sebring, and that's where she finds herself right now with 22 minutes on the clock. But yeah, this is not the running order I think any of us would have expected based on the way they qualified, Peter, but it's been that wild of a start to the race that pretty much anything in the form book, that's been ripped up and left behind right now.
When we come here to the Miami Grand Prix, it does seem to rip the form book up. We saw last year Yves Boltash do the double. Now, he didn't have that pace in the rest of the year on other racetracks. It's very, very close going into turn 1. Scott Blind under fire from Marco Cironi, and that is for the lead in the Solaris Masters category. Scott Blind, the reigning champion, but Cironi leading the championship early in 2026. Blind on the back foot in this points race so far. He will be desperate to keep Cironi at bay there, but they are having a really strong battle there. Meanwhile, number 39, John Joe Twain, trying to hold off the determined Georgian number 77, Tyler Maxson. That's just coming through turn 8 now and onto the back straight down towards 9 and 10.
As you can see, biggest movers of the race since the start. John Joe Twain now drops down to 4th, but still up 8 positions. Alan Metney up 7, Paul Bocuse up 5, Scott Blind up 5 spots. And on the last lap, Patrick Mulcahy, despite being faced in the wrong direction in turn 1, lap 1, Peter, he has run down Josh Conley and retaken the lead in Pro-Am.
Tyler Maxson off the racetrack going through turn 11 and 12, went to have a look at Jean Joe Twain, but I think wisely backed out of it to think, if I make a move here off the racetrack, I might be in trouble. But Sabre Cook stuffs it up the inside into turn 16, up the inside of Maxson, the championship leader. Wow, what a move from Sabre Cook. That is for 5th position overall. They now run down the hill, down towards turn 17, the very big braking zone from top gear all the way to bottom gear. And now Callum Hedge goes up the inside of Bocuse. Does he? Can he make the move stick? Bocuse leaves the door wide open and goes for the cutback now. But Hedge looks like he's going to seal it up. Is he, as they run towards the start-finish line side by side? Hedge gets it back. So Callum Hedge leads the race with just under 20 minutes to go.
This has been a yo-yo of a race for Callum Hedge, up and down, up and down. Looked like things completely fell his way with the start of the race when he ended up at the front, then got shuffled back down the order quite a bit, but give the youngster credit, able to keep his composure, race his way back forward, and then that move very decisive to the inside of Bocuse to take the lead once again just past the halfway mark.
We take a breath. At the halfway mark, a lot has happened so far. Our race brew pole sitter, Janis Diak, unfortunately taken out of the race by an over-exuberant Cole Kleck, but that incident also taking out championship frontrunner Aaron Johnson. Championship leader right now has finally made his move on Jean-Joe Dwayne for 4th position, and Sabre Cook trying not to get held up as well, trying to make the move, going underneath the Qatar bridge, heading down towards turn 9 and 10. Sabre Cook may well be losing the scent of the championship leader, Tyler Maxson, who'll be determined to try and score some big points here with Johnson parked up at the side of the racetrack. Scott Blind up the inside then, holding off Marco Cironi into turn 11 and 12. Very, very close in that Solaris Masters class, but in the Mobile Pro class, it's Callum Hedge who leads the motor race from Paul Bocuse, from Alan Metney for Kelly Moss, number 99, who has his mirrors full with Tyler Maxson in the top racing, number 77.
He does indeed. What a story, though, for Alan Metney. We chronicled it a little bit earlier, had so much success in the lower classes, all of which are determined by age. He feels like, though, there's no reason he can't mix it up at the very front of the field. He's asked to be put into this top class, and what a result it would be if he were able to hang on to this spot and get a podium. But it's going to be tough to do with Maxson now breathing down his neck, and Tyler Maxson knows, hey, this race might not have started my way, but this could still be a really big result for him with so many championship rivals in strife. Up the inside he goes, and he'll grab that position down into turn number 1.
Metney doesn't make it too difficult for Maxson, gives him plenty of racing space, and potentially could be pertinent to just tuck in behind the youngster there. A little moment ago, though, more contact. The number 74 machine in the Solaris Masters category, that is Matt Smith, was struck up the back. Smoke pouring off the rear right Pirelli. That's not going to mean good performance for the rest of this race. 17 minutes to go. Maxson up onto the podium. Meanwhile, Sabre Cook trying to make a move now on Jean Jodouin as they run down the hill towards 10 and 11. A good overtaking opportunity, and she's already got it done. Sabre Cook driving so well with the JDX team, who are right behind her, but Jodouin's going to try and go again, and meanwhile that is Nikita Lastuskin, who stuffs it up the inside there of Jodouin and catches Sabre Cook. Sabre Cook has been nerfed off the racing line, and the car is absolutely dead stick then at turn 11, and the positions ebb away. Nikita Lastuskin, a slightly clumsy manoeuvre there, takes Jodouin out of the way. Jodouin carries on, but Sabre Cook not so lucky. What a disaster for Sabre Cook and JDX.
I was about to say, this track has been so good to Sabre over the years. Career best finish, as I mentioned earlier this year. And in addition to longtime partner Privé Products, a new partner for Sabre starting here at Miami. Canines for Warriors on board for the rest of the season, determined to help end veteran suicide, and really a worthy cause. If you have a chance to check it out, I encourage you to do so. But, whoa, that is so heartbreaking for her. And a spin in the final corner, Peter.
Cirone. Marco Cirone, I think, is off the road. The number 88, the leader in the Solaris Masters category, is Marco Cirone is off the road, the leader in the championship. Meanwhile, the number 6 of Alex Pratt, the front hood of his Porsche 911 Cup, is, well, in a suboptimal position, shall we say, and into the pit lane.
Wonder if we get a look at what happened to him.
Well, Lastuskin going 3 wide and taking 2 cars with him. Unfortunately, Sabre Cook was the end domino, sadly, and was the first to tumble. But Cirone was struck from the rear on the heavy braking zone going into turn 17, Ryan. Big reduction in speed there.
Strange, though, the spin comes later. Wonder if something broke at the back of the car. If there was the contact, that explains why Alex Pratt's hood, or well, not, is it a hood if there's not an engine there? Well, in any case, the bodywork was up. If that was involved in that contact, and that car's made it to the pit lane now. But boy, that is big for Cirone, who is very much in the midst of a championship battle.
Luggage compartment, maybe.
There you go.
We could call it, but which on a GT, full course yellow. Full course yellow has been called in this 5th round of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. If Marcos Cirone's number 88 machine is driving straight, that could really play back in his favour, because the field will bunch back up behind the Pirelli P0 pace car. Alex Pratt, on the other hand, there's a lot of damage behind the bodywork there. That was not, though, what race leader Callum Hedge wanted to see, because he was in the process of building a gap.
It was up to 1.6 seconds at the time the full course yellow came out. That's gone away. I think this is great news for Tyler Maxson. It brings him up to Paul Bocuse, and then would only have the 1 car between himself and the race leader, Callum Hedge. So a real opportunity there. But you're right, for Cirone, this is big. He managed to stay on the lead lap, so he'll close back in. A 19-point lead in that Solaris Aviation Masters Class Championship coming into this doubleheader weekend here in Miami. He'd lose some ground as they run, but I think this should be a relatively quick full course yellow and should be able to get him back into the mix.
behind the Pirelli P0 pace car they are then. Callum Hedge, number 9, your race leader. Paul Bocuse in the 71 behind him. Then it's championship leader Tyler Maxson, number 77. And I agree with you completely, Ryan Marine. It is a dream scenario for him. Tyler Maxson could very conceivably win this race. Alan Metney, oh, what a day for him regardless. Up there fighting in the overall podium positions, really justifying his decision to move up to the Mobile Pro class and mix it with some of the best drivers, up-and-coming drivers in sports cars. Nikita Lastuskin up to 5th, which is the highest position he's ran all season, albeit questionable way to get there. I wonder what race control will think of that one. Jean-Jo Duane in 6th, and Scott Blind, well, 7th position overall, but leading comfortably in the Solaris Masters category, and his nearest championship rival on the back foot then. Patrick Mulcahy, I mean, can anybody stop him in Solaris Pro-Am, Ryan? I don't think so.
Not at the way that he's been able to start this season. Admittedly, he'd love to have a few more drivers to race against in the class. Had a bigger field, certainly in Sebring, and somewhat bigger in Long Beach, and we expect those fields will grow as the season gets into the more traditional races on the calendar. But yeah, really amazing the start to the year that he's had, and I know he's loving this opportunity to be with this team and have a chance to run in the thick of things. He takes great pride in trying to see how far up the overall order he could get.
Unfortunately for Chris Belomo, the number 68, it's a retirement for him, so a bit of work for the Kelly Moss crew to do to get the car ready for tomorrow. So it's been a race of attrition here on the streets of the Miami Grand Prix circuit in the shadow of the incredible Hard Rock Stadium. It is one of the great sporting venues, although it's a fairly new addition to the sporting landscape. I mean, you're taking a stadium which of course is well known for the Miami Dolphins, etc., but this track, it's certainly in Porsche Carrera Cup North America, Ryan, it's thrown up some classics over the years.
Well, it has, and we've chronicled some of the chaos that we've seen here in years past. Let's go back to the very beginning, though, and the way this race started. This kind of set the tone for the kind of chaos we're going to see. Up the inside there, Alex Pratt on the very start of the race tipped into Janusz Diak, the pole sitter, and really the chaos erupted from there.
Every young driver will go through a similar situation, and Cole Kleck, this is one of the hardest lessons so far in his very quick upward trend in motorsport, and he will just be sick as a dog right now, unfortunately. Got it all wrong on the brake, took Janusz Diak with him, and he will take a bit of getting over that one, but luckily another race tomorrow to put it behind him. But lots of contact going on, particularly in the braking zones. This new Porsche 911 Cup, a bigger surface area of braking to use, and therefore you think the braking distances are shortened, but here at Miami there's a lot of really big stops, and we go from high speed down to low speed, and you just get that slightly wrong, and it's very, very easy to end up with the car in front and ahead of you. So it's definitely been a hot spot in the past and continued to be today. Thing is, Ryan, with the weather forecast at the moment, beautiful sunny skies here in Florida with a nice gentle breeze, but we might not be so lucky tomorrow.
No, it could be totally different tomorrow. It could be a monsoon, it could be overcast. Hopefully the heavy stuff stays away. We'll let the weatherman deal with that, and the teams will adapt on the fly as they are so adept at doing. But you're right, we could see totally different conditions for the second race. Quickly back to Marco Cironi. I'd like to, upon second review of that spin, I'd like to point out he backed it into the wall pretty good. It looked like that rear wing might have been slightly deranged. There could be more damage done to that car than we initially thought. He'll have run with it a little bit just before the full course yellow came out, and we'll have some idea of what he's got, but I hope the car is in decent shape. The good news, I suppose, is he won't have to hang on to it for too terribly long, because we're already inside the final 10 minutes.
It might feel more like that Porsche 911 GT3 Touring than GT3, of course, the Touring with no rear wing in road specification. It might be a bit more like that. But yeah, very much survival, I think, towards the end of this race. Lights are still on the Pirelli P0 pace car. One point of note in the Masters, in the Solaris Masters category, and unfortunately that is why the lights are still out on the pace car, because Marco Cirone has ground to a halt in his ACI Motorsports number 88. This is a disaster for Marco, the leader in the Solaris Masters category, with his nearest championship rival, actually, Rob Walker, not here this weekend, which means that this is manna from heaven for Scott Blinn, but it also means that it's a great opportunity for Kevin Stadlander to get his first class podium of the season. Kevin here with a special livery supporting Best Buddies International, a charity dedicated to ending social, physical and economic isolation of the 200 million people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. A great cause, one of many supported here in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. The various drivers often supporting causes close to their heart. There goes Kevin Stadlander in the number 60, running in the top 15 overall, 13th overall at the moment for him. And the driver's desperately trying to keep a bit of temperature in those Pirelli tyres for that run to the flag.
It's a great point to bring up about Kevin. To this point in the season, a pair of fifths, the best result that he's had in that Masters class. And this is a home race for him. He effectively gets to sleep in his own bed if he so chooses this weekend. He is from Miami in Florida, and that is a great cause he's got on the car here this weekend, in addition to longtime partners, Myers Imports and Porsche Columbus. So special opportunity for him, and if you're going to get your first podium, you might as well do it on home soil, right?
Quite right, yeah. Get on the Formula One podium and spray the bubbly. Can't imbibe though, unfortunately, with just have to imbibe with a race brew 0.0 instead. Now back to racing we go then. The Pirelli P0 pace car pulls away, and it will be Callum Hedge to lead us back to racing, but Tyler Maxson in the 77 Top Racing Machine sits ominously in third. Can he grab a win from seemingly nowhere 30 minutes ago? 6 minutes left on the clock. It's a sprint for the win here in round 5 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Penfred Credit Union. And already there's a little bit of rubbing going on further back between Sabre Cook and Josh Conley. Into turn 1 they go, and already moves trying to be made. Learn the lessons. They just about tiptoe their way through, but it's Hedge who hangs on to that advantage ahead of Paul Bocuse, and Sabre Cook going to try and make a move off the racetrack there, has to back out of it and allow Jared Thomas back through. Jared Thomas up to 8th now after being turned around early on in the race, but Maxson looking racy in third, trying to plot his attack on Paul Bocuse, and he's all over him already as they come through turns 6 and 7.
That's where I've got my eyes as well, Peter. You're right. First, second, and third, all nose to tail here. Callum Hedge looked unassailable just before that full course yellow, but give Paul Bocuse credit. He's been able to keep pace with the Kiwi, and he's bringing the Georgian Tyler Maxson with him. Tyler flashing those headlights in the blue and yellow car, third in line, forcing Bocuse to go on the defensive, but Maxson finds a little lane even further to the inside, slides around the Floridian, and for now will take the second spot.
Maxson gets the car stopped only just into the big braking zone at turn 11 and 12 as they try to sort themselves out further down the field. Scott Blinn goes a little bit wide in, now he's gone a little bit further down the order. He's sitting 7th in the overall order right now. He's got a few of the other class drivers right behind him as Nikita Lastuskin also getting himself, well, getting his elbows out as he moves past Alan Metney. That will get him 4th position. They tap mirrors as they charge down the straight at well over 130, 140 or more miles an hour, going down into the long braking zone into turn 17. But Metney takes it back. Metney says, no way, you're the rookie. I'm the really experienced driver in Porsche Carrera Cup North America. 4 minutes to go then here at Miami. Best lap of the race so far. Well, we had a 157.3 from Callum Hedge last time, but we haven't really had the conditions necessarily for for breaking lap records today, Ryan. There's been far too much else to be getting on with. Callum Hedge does have the best lap of the race, a 157.7.
He won speed fastest lap of the race. In fact, to Hedge, who leads it by 0.7 of a second. I think you're right. These tires seem to get better as we go into a run and as the fuel load burns off and drivers are in their rhythm a little bit. We've not really had much rhythm in this race up to this point. 3.5 minutes to go. Battle is on here with Lastishkin and Joe Dwayne scrapping it out 6th and 7th. Sabra Cook a little bit further back, also in the mix. Jared Thomas as well. So really good fight there as they scrabble to try and pick up a few more points before this race is done.
Sabra Cook has done a mega job to get back up to 9th position overall after being, well, unceremoniously shoved out the way and around by Nikita Lastishkin, who is in turn having a lunge at Alan Metney, going down into turn 11, but doesn't quite get it done, does he? No, Alan Metney says, I've seen that one before, pal, and moves back into 4th position. This is superb stuff here in round 5 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Metney, the veteran, hanging on, holding off Lastishkin, and Jean-Joe Dwayne trying to pick up any little scrap or morsel he can, but also don't write off Jared Thomas as well. We know he can handle the close combat.
Oh, we saw that, didn't we, in the first couple of laps? It looked like he was on for a great result, kind of like the way he started the season back at Sebring. But meanwhile, battle heating up here, and maybe some traffic for this group to contend with as well.
Metney leaves the door open, and Nikita Lastishkin just releases the brake pressure slightly going into turn 17, but can't make the move happen. Metney hangs on for 4th position, 1 minute and 55 seconds left on the clock. I think will be 2 laps to go from here. And Joe Dwayne having to go on the defensive and now goes on the attack into turn 1 and hits Nikita Lastishkin. And then Jared Thomas gets involved as well. Thomas goes through and Lastishkin loses a whole bunch of positions. And Janet Stiak, I thought he was dead and buried. He's up in the top 10. How on earth did that happen?
That's a great question. Amazing recovery after being punted down in turn 1 at the start of the race. That car is built tough, that's for sure. Able to handle that big impact, and still Stiak able to extract some pace out of it, and he's not done. Carves to the inside of Lastishkin to pick up another spot.
Wow, what spirit this is from Janusz Stiak. It would be easy to park it up and say, no, the car's too damaged, but he's clearly not running with a perfect race car, and yet he's making things happen. This is how championship challenges are mounted. Janusz Stiak, fantastic stuff from him. Joe Dwayne has to go on the defensive now against the 37 of Sabra Cook. That is for 7th position. It is close there in the Mobile Pro class. Sabra Cook, part of the Porsche Mobile 1 female driver program, and proving exactly why she's part of that program, trying to make things happen, trying to go around the outside, but Joe Dwayne edges her out a little bit, coming out at 16, and that's surely going to run like a bit of a compromise going down towards 17.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Doesn't position that car in the best of light going into this corner here. Here comes Cook and bringing Stiak along for the ride. Keep an eye on the black and red car at the back of this duo, looking left, looking right, just trying to find a gap to exploit. Stiak up the inside of Sabra Cook, Peter.
Then they just make contact on the exit then of turn 17. Onto the last lap we go. White flag is in the air. Callum Hedge has got Tyler Maxson behind him. Maxson has got past Bocuse. So Bocuse back down to 3rd, so still going to try and hang on to the podium. But Maxson now, can he make anything happen on the last lap and take victory here at the Miami Grand Prix? Or is it going to be a debut victory for Callum Hedge in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America and make him the 3rd winner in just 5 races, Ryan?
Well, Callum comes in 3rd in points, only 19 points out of the championship lead. 3 straight 3rd place finishes in the last 3 races, but might be able to do 2 spots better here on the final lap.
Stiak and Sabra Cook getting up close and personal coming out of 17, and now has there been damage to the 37 Privé car? There has. Sabra Cook is dropping down the order, fighting for every position, but it looks like she's not going to get the checkered flag after all, as the leaders are already coming around through turn 13 and 14. And I think Callum Hedge is doing enough right now. Maxson trying everything he can to put the pressure on, but coming out of 16 for the long run down towards turn 17. Callum Hedge has got 3 or 4 car lengths over the championship leader, but all things considered, Tyler Maxson, if you'd have told him after lap 1 you're going to be coming home in second place, I think he would have shaken your hand on that one, probably quite aggressively. Callum Hedge, though, in the Race Brew number 9 car for JDX, leaning on the brakes hard. Through turn 17 he goes, just a couple of more corners to go in his first season. 2026 sees Callum Hedge win here at Miami in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. What a drive from the Antipodean. Tyler Maxson, a gritty performance as always to second. And what about Paul Bocuse? Comes home in third. Meanwhile, they're all charging over the line. Jared Thomas gets it to fourth. What a, again, gritty performance from him. Alan Metney, an overall top 5. Janis Stierk somehow gets that car home in 6th. Jean Jodouin has to settle for 7th. Nikita Lastuskin in 8th in Mopel Pro. I do not even know how to summarise the 40 minutes of action we've just seen, Ryan Marine.
Oh, that was absolutely wild, and in total contrast to the first 4 races of the season, where we've seen such clean racing. 2 races at Sebring, 2 at Long Beach, hardly any stoppages at any point during those weekends. But how about Jared Thomas on the final lap, putting that move on the 99 of Metney to get one more spot before it's all said and done. Really great recovery from Jared Thomas to get up to 4th. You said it earlier, I think it was about a different driver, but salvaging points on a difficult weekend, that's how you mount a championship challenge, and Jared Thomas may really come to look back fondly on that maneuver there for 4th place as the season progresses.
Well, that really reignites Jared Thomas's season, because he came straight out the truck in testing at Sebring very quickly, finished second in the opening race, and it's kind of struggled to keep that magic going. But that performance there, yes, it's not a podium, but what he had to do from being turned round the wrong way to get home in 4th position and bag points when others didn't, you're right, that could really go well for Jared Thomas. What an opener here at Miami. You can imagine those lining the grandstands right now. If you're listening to us, hello, the Miami Grand Prix, very jealous, enjoying the sunshine. That's Porsche Carrera Cup North America, folks. Come back and see it again tomorrow, and indeed enjoy the coverage over the course of the season on the IMSA YouTube and indeed on IMSA Radio, live and free throughout the year. For me, that's one of the most dramatic races I've seen in the last few years of this championship. Miami always delivers. Will Smith said it brought the heat, and it did.
Yeah, it sure did. It started right at the beginning with the contact in turn 1 that upended the order right away, and from there the storylines just started to develop. But Callum Hedge by a second, Peter, over Tyler Maxson, and Paul Bocuse, a first career podium result for him in his 2nd season in Carrera Cup North America. 19 years old from Orlando, and he gets to take home a podium spot on the side of a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Amazing.
What a day for him and the family, and 4 teams in the top 4. Your winner in the Solaris Pro-Am category, Patrick Mulcahy, and Scott Blind returns to winning ways in the Solaris Masters. He made it a habit last year. It has not been the best start of the season for him. Marco Cirone winning 3 out of 4, and Scott Blind getting the win. That could turn his season around. Big stories though. Championship leader in Solaris Masters, Marco Cirone, and second in the championship coming into this race, Aaron Johnson for Kelly Moss in the Racing for Children's car, not making the finish after that incident with Cole Clegg for Top Racing. A hard lesson for him today, a big mistake at turn 1 causing a big wreck, but he will be back to fight tomorrow.